In the wake of the disaster at your home, Lita Chandler, the red-haired woman from your parlor, lays out a tale that, even in light of what you have just witnessed, strains the limits of your belief. The creatures in your home, she claims, are called ghouls, cruel beings who plague the crypts, caverns and tunnels beneath the city of Arkham. These creatures feed on the corpses of humans, and they are served by a dark cult within Arkham whose members have inexplicably come to worship the ancient master of the ghouls. This cult has been killing innocent people and feeding them to the ghouls, satiating a monstrous hunger. A dark balance was maintained until now. Recently, Lita continues, one of the lairs where the corpses were stored was destroyed. Since then, the ghouls have been more active than usual. I have tracked their movements and tried my best to stop them from running amok throughout the city. But I think there is something worse going on. The cult has been planning something darker and more ominous than anything I have yet observed. Indications are that this plan shall come to fruition tonight, shortly after midnight. Beyond that, I cannot fathom what to expect. Many of the cultists, Lita continues, will seem like everyday people, despite their full intentions. Whenever the cult meets, its members don masks shaped like the skulls of various animals to protect their identities from one another. These masks are our mark, symbols of death and decay. We must unmask the cultists to expose and derail their plans. We have but a few hours. The more cultists we find before midnight, the better. Welcome to another playthrough of Arkham Horror the card game. We continue our campaign, The Night of the Zealot. Today we are playing against the second scenario, the Midnight Masks, and we will first of all set up the scenario. So we have placed out the locations as instructed in the setup. So the location your house is removed from the game as we burned down our house. Next, we have to bring one of the two copies of Southside into play. So the top card is 1, 2, 3, and the card on the bottom is 4, 5, 6. We will roll a dice. The rolled number will be removed from the game. And we have a 1, so the top card will be removed. The same we will do for downtown. We have a 3, so also the top card will be removed from the game. So we would have set up the locations. Each investigator starts in Rivertown. We give a quick look at Rivertown. So Rivertown has a shroud value of 1 and comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. And from Rivertown we can move to the following locations. I placed the locations next to each other to get them all recorded on camera. So each time we want to move, we have to check to which locations we can move. And we placed the 1 clue on the location. We have our starting resources. We have prepared the chaos bag. We continue playing on expert difficulty, so we will quickly look at the scenario card and the effects of the chaos tokens. So the skull token is a -X, and X is the total number of doom in play. The cultist mark has a -2. Place 1 doom on each cultist enemy in play. If there are no cultist enemies in play, reveal another token. And finally we have the tablet token, which is a -4. If you fail, place all your clues on your location. The separate cultist deck of Umordot is been placed next to the scenario card. Here we will draw at random or roll a dice when we reveal a cultist. Right, is there anything else? We have prepared the encounter deck. Here's our agenda deck, the act deck. We have put out the locations. So next we will look at our deck and the modification that we have taken. In the first scenario, we gain a total of 4 experience points from the following 3 cards. 1 point from the cellar, 1 point from the attic, and 2 points from the ghoul priest. And we gain a bonus 2 experience points during resolution 1 of scenario 1. So in total we have 6 points. And for this scenario we have spent only 1 point to include extra ammunition into our deck, and we will remove knife to add extra ammunition. So knife has been removed. We spent 1 of our experience points. The remaining 5 points we will take to the last scenario. And finally we added Lita Chandler to our deck. And as we burnt down our house, we took a mental trauma, so we have to start the game with 1 horror on Roland Banks. So next, I think we have prepared everything so far. We will now shuffle the decks and start the scenario. I hope I haven't missed anything, but it looks good so far. Double check, yeah. So we will now shuffle the decks, starting with the player deck. We may quickly look at it again. Nothing really has changed other than that we have included extra ammunition and removing 1 copy of knife, and we added Lita Chandler. The remaining cards are unchanged, and we will take our 5 remaining experience points to the next scenario. Right now we need these cards for this scenario. So yeah, we'll now shuffle the decks. Okay, we can give one more quick look at Roland Banks for those who tuned in only for the second scenario. So Roland Banks has a basic willpower of 3, an intellect of 3, a fight value of 4, and the agility of 2. The following reaction: after you defeat an enemy, discover 1 clue at your location, limit once per round, and the Elder Sign gives us +1 for each clue on our location. We can take up to 9 damage and 5 horror. We will now draw our starting hand of 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The guard dog looks good for this scenario, so we will keep him. The remaining cards, so we are allowed to take a single mulligan for our starting hand. We will mulligan those 4 cards and draw 4 new cards from the top of our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is now our starting hand, and the cards that we set aside will shuffle back into our deck. Okay, we have our starting hand. We will now read the agenda and act deck, the story text. Predator or prey? Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. Uncovering the conspiracy. You have one night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. And we will also now look at the game effects of each card, starting with Agenda 1A. So here we have an resign action. You don't want to risk taking it too long, so you head to safety with the information you have gathered. The agenda deck advances when we have 6 Doom in play. And for the act deck, you have the following action. The investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. And we have an objective here. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, advance. And there's also a note, not all 6 of them are in the cultist deck. So we will most likely not meet the objective as a single player, but we will try to collect as many experience points as possible to prepare for the final scenario. So then shortly the round sequence. Each round consists 4 phases. We start with the mythos phase, then we have the investigation phase, so the player phase where we play cards, prepare, the enemy phase where we get attacked by enemies, and the upkeep phase which readies all cards for the next round. During the first round the mythos phase is skipped, so we will immediately go into the investigation phase. And we have 3 actions during the investigation phase. So for our first action we will play the flashlight. So very shortly, this is an asset that costs 2 resources and takes up 1 hand slot. It comes into play with 3 supplies. We can spend, as an action, we can spend 1 supply to investigate, and the location we are investigating gets -2 shroud value. So this would be our first action, and we pay our 2 resources. The card comes into play with 3 supplies. Next we will let's see. We definitely need a weapon. We have a guard dog. I would say that we will, with the second action, we will draw a card. Okay, we have drawn evidence. And for the final action, we will just investigate by spending 1 supply from our flashlight. So the river town has a shroud value of 1, which will be reduced to 0. We have an intellect of 3. and we have drawn a -1. Okay, so the test was successful and we gain one clue. We discover one clue. And this will end our turn. So as there are no enemies in play, we will go straight to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place one Doom on the agenda and draw one encounter card. Okay, we have drawn Hunting Shadow. The treachery, the revelation effect is you must either spend one clue or take 2 damage. And in this case, we will take 2 damage and keep our clue. Okay, so now let's see. We have already one clue. From Rivertown we can move to maybe to East Town. Or to Southside. Okay, first of all we will move with our first action to Southside and reveal the location. Okay, so the Southside has a shroud value of 1 and comes into play with 1 clue per investigator. And the following action, draw 3 cards. This is limit once per game. We will then, we have 2, 4, 6 cards in hand. If we draw 9 cards, we most likely have to discard 1 card. So but we also need a weapon. There's also a possibility of drawing a weakness card. So we could try to investigate. But I would say we take the action on the location. So we draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Oh, nice. Okay. We have drawn Lita Chandler. Now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cards in hand. So we will have to discard 1 card at the end of the round. And for our final action, we will first of all play the emergency cache to gain 3 resources. 1, 2, 3. Then our turn ends and we go to the upkeep phase. As there are no enemies in play, we ready all cards, draw a card, gain a resource. We check now our hand limit. So we have 9 cards in hand, so we have to discard 1 card. In this case we will discard the physical training. And continue with the Mythos phase, place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. And we have drawn Locked Door. So this card's revelation reads, attached to the location with the most clues and without the locked door attached. The attached location cannot be investigated. Then we have here a fight or an action where we can test our strength against a difficulty of 4 or our agility to break the locks and discard locked door. So this card is now attached here to this location, so we cannot investigate here unless we destroy the locked door. And we will now continue with the investigation phase, where we have quite some options. Okay. I would say, let's see, from south side we can move to the Miskatonic University, we can move to the hospital or to the river town. And for the first action, I would just move back to the river town. For the second action, we could play Lita Chandler, but from Rivertown we will move to we will move to East Town for a second action. So let's reveal the location. Okay, so the East Town has a shroud value of 2, comes into play with 1 clue per investigator, and has the following effect. While you are in East Town, reduce the cost of each ally asset you play by 2. And for our final action, we will play out our guard dog, which is an ally asset, so we can reduce the cost by 2. The guard dog will cost now 1 resource and has the following reaction. When an enemy attack deals damage to guard dog, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. So we'll spend 1 resource to put him into play and end our turn. We then ready all cards, draw a card, nice, gain a resource, and continue with the Mythos phase. Place 1 Doom on the agenda, draw 1 encounter card. Okay, Crypt Chill. So we have seen this card before. We have to test our willpower by 4. If we fail, discard 1 asset you control. The guard dog only costs 1, so we'll most likely discard the guard dog. We can play out a second copy, so we will just test without committing any cards to the skill test. The worst we can draw is the tablet, which puts all our clues on the location, but that's fine. Okay, and we have drawn a -3, so the test is failed. We have to discard an asset, and we will discard the guard dog. In the investigation phase, for our first action, we will investigate, spending 1 supply from our flashlight to reduce the shroud value by 2. So it's currently at 0 against 3. And we have drawn a -3, so the test was successful. We discover 1 more clue. Okay, we will then use the action on the act card, spend 2 clues to reveal the first card from the cultist deck. So the cultist deck consists of 5 cards. We will roll a dice. The first one, the top card is number 1. Let's see which card we draw. We have a 4. So in this case it would be this card, and we have revealed Herman Collins, and his spawn location is the graveyard. As an action, we can choose and discard 4 cards from our hand to add Herman Collins to the victory display. So we will place him here. And we have 1 more action left. So 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. Question is, who do we play out? maybe for the 2, 4. Okay. So I would say we just play the guard dog for our final action. Again, ally assets are reduced by 2 while we at the east turn, so we will have to pay 1 resource to play the guard dog and end our turn. Go straight to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Okay, we have drawn False Lead. The revelation reads, if you have no clues, False Lead gains Search. So we have no clues. Search means we will draw another card from the top of the encounter deck. And we have drawn Locked Door again. And this card says attached to the location with the most clues and without a locked door attached. So currently there is no location with clues or revealed. So I, to be honest, don't know. It says attached to the location with the most clues without a locked door attached. The most clues would be currently south side, but there is locked door already attached. In this case, I think we can decide. And as we have already cleared out the east town, we'll just place it here. Because any other location is currently 0 clue. So we could decide and we'll just place it at east town. That's fine. Okay. Back to our turn. With 2, 4, 6, 8 cards in hand. Okay, so I would say we will drop the machete for our first action. So this is a asset that costs 3 resources and takes up 1 hand slot. With the machete we have a fight action, we get +1 for the attack, and if we are engaged with a single enemy, the attack deals +1 damage. So 1, 2, 3. And from East Town we can move to River Town and to downtown. From River Town we can move to the Graveyard, which is also good. So I would say for our second action we will move back to River Town, because we have more options from River Town. And for our third action, let's see, we have an ally already, we have a weapon now. We could play physical training, cost us 2 resources, and okay. Yeah, let's put out physical training. So this card costs 2 resources and doesn't take any slots. It's an asset. During a player window we can spend a resource to increase our willpower or our fight value by +1, and we can do this a numerous of times. We can spend as many resources as we wish. So we'll have to pay 2 resources, and this will be our third turn. We will then go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda We have currently 5 out of 6 and draw an encounter card. Okay, so we cannot spend the clue, so we have to take a 2 damage from Hunting Shadow. So we place the 2 damage onto Roland. And move on with the investigation phase. 2, 4, 6, 7 cards in hand. 2, 4, 5. Okay. That said, we could maybe move. Could move to the graveyard, discard a few cards from our hand to take Herman Collins to the victory display. 4 cards we have to discard. In this case, we could decide for Flashlight, Guts, or we move to where can we go? We could also move to south side. Or we move to Miskatonic University from Rivertown. Let's see. We are allowed to reveal the card. Okay, so the Miskatonic University has a shroud value of 4. Comes into play with 2 clues per investigator and has a victory 1. As an action, we can search the top 6 cards of our deck for a tome or spell card and add it to our hand. So this would be our first action. And the location comes into play with 2 clues. Now we have 2 more actions left. 2, 4, 6, 7. And we will take 2 resources with the remaining 2 actions and end our turn. 1, 2. Go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards. Draw a card and gain a resource. 2, 4, 6, 8 cards, okay, that works. We will then go to the Mythos phase, place 1 Doom on the agenda, which advances the agenda. We have currently 6 Doom in play. So we will look at the back side of the agenda card. And the back side is the Masked Hunter. So it's an enemy. He has a spawn engaged with the prey and the prey's most clues. In this case, it would be us. The Masked Hunter gets +2 health per investigator. And while you are engaged with the Masked Hunter, you cannot discover or spend clues. So he will be engaged with us in combat, and we will then bring out the second agenda card. So let's look at it. Agenda 2A with the title Time is Running Short. There's a story text. The minutes pass quickly as your investigation continues, and there's a resign action, and the agenda card advances when there's 8 Doom in play. Okay, we will now have to draw an encounter card during the Mythos phase. Again, we have drawn Crypt Chill. So this time we could discard our Flashlight. We will commit, We could commit guts to the skill test, but we will not. We can just discard the flashlight if the test fails. So let's draw a token, chaos token, and we have drawn a 0, but the test still failed. We had a willpower of 3 against 4, so we have to discard the flashlight. Okay, back to the investigation phase. We will try to defeat the masked hunter, and for our first action we will attack using the machete. So we get +1 to our combat value. We are at 5 right now. We will, for the first attack, commit vicious blow to increase our combat value by +1, and if the attack is successful it deals +1 damage. So we are at 6, and we should have at least an advantage of +4, so we will also spend 2 resources with physical training to increase our combat by 2 more. Having a total of 8 now, attacking against 4, means we have an advantage of +4. So we would lose to -5, 6, 8, and the auto fail token. And we have drawn for our first attack a -2. Perfect, we had an advantage of +4, so the attack was successful, and we deal a total of 3 damage. +1 from the machete, +1 from vicious blow, so a total of 3. We will then attack a second time using our machete. There are no cards that we can commit. However, we will spend 4 resources to increase our, or let's just first of all spend 3 resources to increase our combat value by +3, and we have the machete. So we again are at 8, attacking against a difficulty of 4, which means we have an advantage of +4. We could actually spend 2 more, but hopefully we'll stay within the -4 range. There are not many tokens that could make us fail, so let's see what we have drawn this time. We have drawn a -5 and the test fails. Okay, yes, we only had an advantage of +4, so the second attack failed. And we will attack one more time, spending 2 more resources to increase our combat value by +2. So this time we attack with 7 against 4, which means we have an advantage of +3. Okay, and we have drawn, wow, our Elder Sign. So we even get +2 for each clue on our location. So this attack was successful. We deal 2 damage. The Masked Hunter has 1 more hit point left. But he survived this turn. So in the enemy phase, he will attack us, and we will place 2 damage. We could assign all the damage to Guard Dog at this point. If we... yeah. We could also take 1 horror and let the Guard Dog live. Yeah, okay, we have Lita Chandler, so it's fine. So instead, we place from the Masked Hunter's attack 2 damage on the Guard Dog. This triggers his, but we have to assign all damage first. So the horror has been placed on Roland, the damage on the guard dog. So after the guard dog is attacked by an enemy, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. This is his reaction. So we deal the final damage to the Masked Santa. He had 6 hit points, we defeated him. We have currently 6 damage on him. We can put him then into the victory display. And we can trigger Roland's ability in the enemy phase. This is once per round to discover 1 clue. But unfortunately we miss a resource to play evidence. Oh, that didn't work out well. Alternatively, now while I think about it, maybe we should kill the Masked Santa in the player phase. That means we would have to take 1 more damage, which is maybe better. Yeah, we will change our plan. So we will keep the Masked Santa in play, assign, so the reaction is not mandatory, it's not a forced, so we do not have to deal a damage to the Masked Hunter. And we will just continue with the upkeep phase. He was exhausted, ready all cards. Draw a card and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. Okay. Okay, interesting. So we have drawn On Wings of Darkness. We have to test agility by 4. If we fail, take 1 damage, 1 horror. Then disengage from each non-Nighthound enemy engaged and move to a central location. So we will first of all perform the test. We have agility of 2 against 4. So while we are fighting the Masked Hunter, the creature's taking us, and we have drawn the tablet token, which is a -4, and if you fail, place all your clues on your location. We have no locations, so no clues, so we ignore the effect, but we will now have to take 1 damage and 1 horror and move to a river town and disengage from each enemy. So the Masked Hunter stays at the Miskatonic University, and we have to move to a central location, which the river town is. We'll take then 1 horror and 1 damage. Okay, then we will go back to the investigation phase, and for our first action we will move to the Miskatonic University. So the Masked Hunter is engaged with us again, and we will now initiate playing Lita Chandler for our second action. This is an ally that costs 0, but before we can play the ally, so before the playing can be resolved, we get attacked by the Masked Hunter first. He deals 2 damage, 1 horror. We'll place 1 of the damage to the guard dog and 1 horror onto him, and 1 damage we place on Roland. And then guard dog's reaction ability triggers, so we'll deal 1 damage back to the Masked Hunter, which defeats him. And we place him into the victory display. We then trigger Roland's ability, discover 1 clue at our location. And then we can resolve the effect. The guard dog would be defeated anyways. And we can bring out Lita Chandler. And finally, we will play Evidence. After defeating an enemy, spend 1 resource, discover 1 clue at your location. So this is a fast. We spent one resource to discover one more clue from our current location. And Lita Chandler cost 0, gives us +1 to our combat value while she is in play, and when we attack a monster enemy, we deal +1 damage. For our final action, we will then spend 2 clues to draw one more card from the cultist deck. And we will roll a die again. The top card would be a 1. And we have a 1. Okay, let's see what we have drawn. We have drawn Ruth Turner. So her spawn location is the St. Mary's Hospital. And after Ruth Turner is evaded, add her to the victory display. We probably have to kill her to add her to the victory display, because evading will be difficult with Roland. Alright, we have 2, 4, 6. So our turn ends and we go to the enemy phase. We have no hunter enemies in play, so we skip the enemy phase, go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place one Doom on the agenda and draw one encounter card. Okay, we have drawn Obscuring Fog. This card will be attached to our location, and the attached location gets +2 to the Shroud value. And for our first action, we will move back to Rivertown. For our second action, we will play Emergency Cash to gain 3 resources. And finally, we will 2, 4, 6 draw a card and end our turn. Okay, we have drawn Unexpected Courage. Then in the enemy phase, nothing happens. We go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and we have drawn Cover Up. So our weakness card, so Cover Up, comes into our threat area into play with 3 clues on it. When you would discover one more clue at your location, discard that many clues from Cover Up instead. And there's a forced effect. When the game ends, if there are any clues on Cover Up, you suffer 1 mental trauma. So we just drew another problem for us. Kinda have to get rid of this. Let's see. And we'll gain 1 resource. Finally, in the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda, draw 1 encounter card, and we have drawn an Acolyte. This is an enemy with the following spawn requirement: any empty location. After Acolyte enters play, place 1 Doom on it. I would say we will place him let's place him to south side, and he comes into play with 1 Doom. Okay, in the investigation phase, we will or maybe I have a better idea. No, that's not possible. Okay. I wanted to place the Acolyte to the graveyard, but it has to be an empty location, so he cannot be placed there. But maybe, or instead we should place him to north side. Okay. Okay, so we have 3 actions left. So far we have 3 points, 3 victory points. Basically we just would need 5, so 2 more, and yeah. So I would say for our first action we will move to the graveyard, there where Herman Collins is, and reveal the graveyard. So the graveyard has a shroud value of 1 and comes into play with 2 clues per investigator. After you enter the graveyard, test your willpower. If you fail, you must either take 2 horror or move to Rivertown. Should be able to take 2 more horror. So we move to the graveyard and Herman Collins would be engaged with us. Where can we place him? Let's place him here for the moment. Or we keep him here so we know that we are engaged with him. The location comes into play with 2 clues on it, and we have to now test our willpower against a difficulty of 3. So we could commit Guts to the skill test. We could also use the 2 copies of Guts and Beat Corp and extra ammunition to put Herman to our victory display immediately. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, at least 1 copy we could commit, because, or no. So we will commit no cards to the skill test. We'll just draw an chaos token. If we fail, we take 2 horror, which we will place onto Lita. We have drawn. Wow, our Elder Sign again. So this means we get +2 to our willpower. The skill test is successful and we do not have to take any horror. Perfect. Okay, then for our second action, we will use the action on Herman Collins. So it reads, choose and discard 4 cards from your hand. Parlay, add Herman Collins to the victory display. This is what we will do. So for the second action, we will discard 1, 2, 3, these 4 cards and put Herman Collins to the victory display. And for our final action, we will play the flashlight, spending 2 resources, and the card comes into play with 3 clues on it. Okay, then in the enemy phase, nothing happens. We go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place 1 Doom on the agenda and draw 1 encounter card. And we have another Acolyte, which we will place to Rivertown. It's an empty location. And currently we have 6, so we have 2 more turns left. We need 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So if we investigate 5 times successfully, we can end it here. So let's see, we will first of all investigate at the graveyard using 1 supply from our flashlight. So the shroud value will be reduced to 0. We have an intellect of 3. We have drawn a -3, which is enough, so the test was successful. But instead of discovering 1 clue, we will remove 1 clue from cover up. So we will do this for our second action as well, spending one supply from the flashlight to investigate. And we have drawn. So the skull token is right now a -6 because we have 6 Doom in play. And our skill value will be reduced to 0. The difficulty is 0. So this test was also successful. But instead of discovering a clue, we will remove one clue from cover up. And for our third action, we will investigate one more time, spending the last supply on our flashlight. And we have drawn the tablet, which is a -4, and if we fail, we do not. Again, if we are equal to or greater than the difficulty, we succeed. We would be at 0 against 0, so we remove one more clue on cover up. So cover up is cleared, but we need still one more victory point. We can buy us a turn by defeating the Acolyte. It's also not that easy. They have a combat value of 3. Anyhow, in the enemy phase, nothing is happening. So we go to the upkeep phase, ready all cards, draw a card, and gain a resource. In the Mythos phase, we place one Doom on the agenda. We have 2, 4, 5 and draw one encounter card. And we have another Acolyte, which we will, let's see, maybe we'll place him to the Miskatonic University. Okay, back to the investigation phase. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 Doom in play. Next round, the agenda would advance. So we have 2 alternatives here. Either we move to the river town and try to defeat the Acolyte to gain one more turn. Alternatively, we could try to investigate the 2 clues here and for the final action resign. But both options are very difficult. We have currently 4 victory points, so we can move and kill, having one turn left, but so basically we have if we move and kill, we have 1 action left. We could move to Ruth Turner and try to defeat her instead in the next round. Her combat value is relative low, and we can also spend our resources to increase our combat value. I think this is a safer play instead of discovering the clues here. And we can take plenty of damage anyways. But the risky part is we have to defeat the Acolyte. If we attack him right now, we would have an advantage of +3. It is risky. We could increase it to +5 with unexpected courage. And we have 2 Oh, I just realized even if we kill the Acolyte right now, the agenda would advance because we have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. We would place our 8. Okay, even so that plan doesn't work. So we can only try to get the clues here. And we only have 2 actions to get the clues. Yeah, we cannot avoid the agenda to advance, and we have to resign before that agenda advances. So in this case, there's not much left. Actually, we will just draw from the encounter, from the chaos bag, see if we get the clues. If we do, great. If not, then this is how it is. So we will not waste any more time. We have went through all the options. Even if we move here, spend 1 action, kill him, we have 1 action left, and with that we cannot remove 1 more doom here. So the agenda would advance next turn. We can only try to investigate for our first 2 actions. If it doesn't work out, we just resign and end our turn here. We have cleared up cover up. If cover up wouldn't have come into play, we would have gained this very easily, but at least the next game we do not start with another mental trauma. And yeah, okay, so we will just investigate at the graveyard using Roland's basic intellect of 3. And yeah, we have an advantage of +2. There are no cards that we can commit to the skill test other than unexpected courage, which we will try at the second attempt. Yeah, if we are successful. So we need a token -2 or less. Okay, we have drawn a -4. Okay, the skill test failed. So basically we can stop the game here. We will use our second action to resign and end the scenario before the agenda advances. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Unfortunately, we couldn't clear out the graveyard. Cover up prevented us from doing so, but there's nothing we can do about it. At the end, we drew 2 many acolytes, so when we count doom, we have to count all doom. In the next turn, we would have 9 doom in play, so we had to resign here. We'll then check the resolution and continue with scenario 3. Thank you for watching. Before I stop, we have check our victory. So we have 2 points from the Masked Hunter and 1 point from Herman Collins. And we also cleared out the Miskatonic University. There are no clues on this card. So we can also add the Miskatonic University to our victory display, having a total of 4 points from scenario 2. Yeah, all the other locations have no victory points. So we had 5 left and we gained 4 more. So we have a total of 9 experience points to be spent for the third scenario. Now I close the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye. Resolution 1. You have managed to obtain some useful information about the cult and its plans. You can only hope it's enough.